1.1. Nice.
Is the video playing for you guys?
No.
Currently not.
Okay,
What
just
the fuck?
making sure.
Please don't
That
fart
was
into
me,
the
that was-
microphone.
That was a rocket.
This
All right.
video is sponsored.
All right. We're back.
Are we?
Oh, I'm
Cool.
back. Where were we? At 2.5 minute mark?
Where's the stream?
Da-da-da. I just had to make a new one, that's why.
Oh, okay.
Alright, stream's back. Nice.
Awesome.
Ah!
All right. Yay. All right, we're back. We're good to go. I don't know what the hell happened there. That was weird.
Smud's internet suffered a stroke.
Yeah, and it wasn't my router. It just decided to stop, and I'm like, why? And then I switched the region on Discord, and that didn't work. So I was like, why? Why is everything stopping? So I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But I'm back. I hope. Anyway. Okay, let's try this again.
All right, let's see if I'm allowed to watch it now.
Yeah, we are in the watch together, I think, all of us. We're at 2 minutes and 35 seconds. All right, great.
Yes.
Let's go. Again.
Yes.
How can we put this in a game?
Psych of play.
Escaping from planet Zebes, running errands in Termina while the sky is literally falling. That one fight against Okumura, whose hatred in the Persona 5 community can only be rivaled by the passion in the best girl debate. Timers, countdowns, time limits.
You should have restructured that sentence. It's fine. You should just put the parts of the sentence in different orders. Germany take over.
These are all that originally saw a lot of use in older titles, but are very much alive and well nowadays. Not
missed that
unlike
game.
other mechanics, there's
There.
The bomb
Okay,
game. I like the bomb game.
Now I have to be the grammar Nazi. If you say that they were introduced in the older days, you don't need to say but they're well and alive. You just say and they are alive and well. There's no but there.
Yeah. Also, I missed the bomb game. The bomb game was fun.
All right, here's
seems to be a
the Giga Chad. Hey, Giga Chad. This video has been brought to you by a browser that definitely doesn't make your computer mine Bitcoin and definitely won't put femboy porn on your hard drive. I don't know. He seemed to like it, so I've never seen an ad for a browser. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like use multiple browsers that other people use because they're standard. If you find an eclectic browser that works for you, go for it. I don't know how you get sponsored by a browser though. I've never seen that. So
Yeah.
When do you get sponsored by viruses?
I to this day don't know how Opera even makes money.
yeah, Mozilla got to understand they're a bigger corporation. They do more than just Firefox, but it's like, okay, good for you. You make browsers.
I also never understood how Mozilla makes money.
Smart, you should hit F5 on the visual chat.
The
It's
chat?
showing up from the old stream.
Oh, let me update that. Yeah, I forgot about that shit. Arr. 1 sec.
This would be, I don't know, easier, funner, or boringer if you just talked about the worst mechanic in all of gaming, and that is escort missions for NPCs that walk at odd speeds.
No. With your mission, listen, a escort mission is singular. And if they're for the game, they're usually not really escort missions and more just companions like Ellie from The Last of Us, where the cowards didn't even give her an AI. They just had
You
her
clearly
walk
have
around.
not played World of Warcraft.
You must pick up
Or
10,
Superman 64.
10 elf roots and return it to me in 2 minutes or whatever. It's like, why? Why
You know
can't
the
you?
real worst mechanic, besides best mechanic? The open radio that every fucking looter shooter seems to have. And that every single action game seems to use. Yeah, the open radio where any person can just tap in and talk to you. To your fucking ear whilst you're shooting shit.
Okay, I have no idea because I've never played those since
Yeah, not my thing.
they
What?
came into being, I guess.
Okay, have you guys ever played Borderlands?
Yes.
Where they pop in with a little character on the side, and then you got the name at the bottom with their dialogue written out. They talk your ear off about why you should kill them or help them out.
Oh, you mean just the normal NPC shit?
Yeah, whenever an NPC just starts talking to you whilst you're away from them, it always
He's
annoys
talking
the
about
shit out of
like
me.
when there's like a radio
Mhm.
thing where they pop up in the corner and they're like,
Yeah. Okay.
Yokai, I need you to shoot this man in the head.
Exactly.
How does everyone have your number?
It's like I get
It's
it.
like, how
if
the
they...
fuck did you get this line?
One thing is like, okay, in they actually do this in Far Cry 3. In Far Cry 3, you have one radio person, and that's like your go-to guy that you meet in person who has you the radio and gives you all your missions and stuff. That makes sense. That gives you a level of immersion and character to him.
Otacon.
Yeah, or Metal Gear, which makes it a mechanic. Where it's an actual radio that you need to set up.
It was fun in the first Deus Ex game where your operator didn't talk to you through the first mission because he didn't want to confuse you. And you meet him in his office and it's, hey, I saw all that. What? How? Well, I have a camera feed here from what you see and shit. And I can talk to you, but I didn't because I didn't want to startle you.
Yeah, all that inner ear vibration from the codecs or other video games. Oh yeah, I can see and hear everything you see and hear. Like, what the hell?
At least that
Wisp,
I can accept.
can you do me
more
a favor?
so than...
Can you say it gave me orange, I wanted lemon lime?
Who?
You, Wisp. That's from Deus Ex. I just want to hear it in the German accent.
I know.
Say the line, Wisp.
It gave me orange. I wanted lemon lime.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, let's get back to what he's trying to. We don't even know what his point is yet. We'll find out. Let's go.
Split between people that think that they add something to the experience and others that will literally drop a game because a timer is a major component. You might find the 30-day countdown at Pikmin to be the perfect way to keep pace and feel a little bit of heat whenever you make a decision, but then again, that ever-dropping moon in Majora might put a damper on your exploration and force you to play at a pace that you wouldn't ordinarily play a Zelda game with. And what I find interesting about this is that it's not just games where the timer is clearly there to create stress, it's timers in general. I put some feelers out there on Twitter and it seems some...
And this is where he completely loses track of his original point.
There's some other games like Majora's Mask or Unsighted that place heavy consequences on an impending countdown or timer. Additionally, what were your thoughts on said games?
It's like it's no
Fallout.
longer just how do you feel about important timers. It's now just how do you feel about any game that has time as a mechanic ever.
Heavy consequences they all have. It's just that in games like Majora's Mask, it is translated well into visual representations in the game that make you feel there's something going on and not just numbers running.
Yeah, I think.
Like
Mask
each
would
day
also
that goes
work.
by, each day that goes by, the music becomes more hectic. The townsfolk become more paranoid. It's actually really interesting.
It depends how they
that's
tell you.
one thing. The moon is further down, and what I wanted to say is it would also work without the timer on screen. However, there would be detrimental when you're in a dungeon all the time.
Yeah, like
and you can't check the moon all the time.
With,
but generally, it would work without it.
With other games that don't even tell you, like Fallout 2, I think Copperell was I think alluding to that there is no timer. It's just we need to get the water chip, but you have this open world. You're just like I'm gonna get a car. I'm gonna explore, looking for the damn thing, and then you forget about it for like a day or two, and then all of a sudden you get a vision. And your elder's like, Chosen, where are you? You're like, oh shit. So
why are you balls asleep in a prostitute?
Yeah, and then after that it's game over if you don't get it within a week. So it's like, oh shit. So there's certain ways to do that.
Oh no. In Fallout 2, there isn't any actual timer.
Yeah, there is.
Even after the vision.
Oh, there is.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, no, Fallout 2 doesn't have a timer. Fallout 1 has a timer.
Yeah, that's the one where the water chip, you get the reminder that the water is gonna run out. then everyone's gonna
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, it's the same with the Gek in Fallout 2 that your
Yeah.
tribe is going to die. So once you get to that, like you have to get right near I think the second last part of the game where you have to go to the sub and find whatever Gek. And oh, you got it, and then you're allowed to just walk around. So it's kind of like, okay, there is a point to the game. You can't just loiter. But Fallout has always been about exploration, so it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's detrimental. It just gives you a certain, oh, yeah, I should be doing that thing with the story. So
when there's these hidden timers that make the world feel like it has consequences for you, that the world continues without you, that I think is generally a good thing.
all right,
I really wish New Vegas had the timer. Like if you,
I wish there was a guy hunting you down in New Vegas because you're the all-important courier.
Add some tension.
yeah,
Yeah, like a roaming band of, I don't know, every group. Like every group's chasing after you, and if you piss them off, they'll come hunting you. That'd be cool.
well, you do piss them off. They
do
will
that,
send
though,
bounty hunters.
Smud.
They do that
Easily avoid
kind
them.
of, but it's random and it doesn't really. It's not like you can't stop because
I
at that
guess
point,
it's more like a random encounter. There isn't like
It's-
consistent tension.
It's not a random encounter. There's specific locations they will spawn in. So long as you avoid those locations, they'll never find you.
I know, but at that point, you're so powerful. It's just like, yeah, come on, let's do this.
Oh, don't tell me. you
That's
never
beginning
had
of the
the-
game with me because I kill the NCR on site most of the time.
Oh,
So they send the bounty hunters early for me.
all right. Here's Gingaman. Gingaman, I don't know why you're not on the stream, but okay. I often called that he drag on Majora's Mask timer mechanic. Anyone can tell you this is the first hour is always a slog to reiterate that you lost the Ocarina of Time early on. I don't see this as a problem with Majora's Mask. I think this is, it's built in. This is what you have to realize to do. And a lot of people don't like that, but if you love Zelda games, you'll get over it. It's like, yeah, it's not a big deal.
Well, another thing to take in consideration.
When you
Another
get
thing
to
you can go
slow
first.
down the time, it's more than enough. It's very, what's the word? Leisurely, actually. Sorry,
Well,
okay?
I mean, like one thing to take into consideration is that it was only the second 3D Zelda game. There wasn't really a format yet. It's not like it was known for you get to explore a 3D environment forever. And besides that, like the further you get, the more powerful Link gets and the more control he has over his environment.
Mm-hmm.
Majora's Mask was a hell of a game. I think that was the one with the expansion that you had to install into.
Yeah, it was.
It needed the extra graphics upgrade.
Yeah. Big game.
Yeah. And then the entire game was built around that.
Oh yeah, there's
and
so many
something
games.
that you don't see in games. Even today, you don't see this a lot in games, where every NPC throughout this, and it works because it is the set.
The characters
time
have
frame
a
of 3
schedule.
days.
The characters have a
Yes.
schedule, a scripted
Yes.
schedule.
Throughout the 3 days, all the characters have that, and you don't have that. You don't have that a lot.
And it's
in
cool because,
Gothic,
like,
in the
as the Link gets more items and stuff and goes back in time, you can interfere more and more with those scripted events to see what happens.
Yeah, and one of the few games that did that in the olden days somewhat was the first Gothic game. It made the encampments in the colony seem more alive because the people living there and the named NPCs, they actually did different things during different times of day.
In regards to Majora's Mask, though, other games have that sort of time loop scenario where that's the whole nature of the setting. So you get used to it. It's a mechanic. You're like, oh, I got to fix this. This is a problem. I got to get out of it. I got to discover the issue. So I recall Returnal. That was a big game. Was it action shooter or shmup? I don't know what you call it. But that was the whole premise of the game. So there's a few of them like that. I can't think of too many others, but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having that as a mechanic, provided it's done well and it's hooked into the story and the character and what they're trying to do. And usually it's to escape the time loop or figure out what's going on.
You know what? I'll give you a heavy consequence for a timer. Donkey Kong Country 3 in, I think it's the second world.
Really?
In the forest, yes. There's a level that has a tiny, tiny timer in the bottom right corner that goes down to, I think, thousandths of a second. So it runs. It looks like it's running really fast, and has this. It's the first level with this really cool music that gives you urgency. Other levels use it too, but I think this is the first one, and it really feels like a race against nobody but this little timer down there in the corner. And you don't have this timer usually in ever, and if you don't beat a certain time, the record of the bear NPC that runs the hut in the forest, you don't get an item that you need in order to progress the game. So you actually need to finish that level under a certain time. That is a heavy consequence. It's just not as... It doesn't feel as impactful as the moon crashing and ending the game, but it's essentially the same consequence.
Yeah, but there also aren't like scripted events that are associated with it in a cinematic way. That's more like just a speed race level.
Oh no, what I'm saying is he's asking for timers that put on heavy consequences.
Okay.
And that is usually, in all of these, the common denominator is the game can't continue.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
glad
it.
I'm glad you guys talked about that, because he's about to put on the clown hat and make this entire conversation invalid.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, great.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
People avoid games where this is a major component as soon as they catch wind of it. One
Pussies.
comment I saw mentioned that even the 20-hour daylight timer in Stardew Valley simply being there made them super anxious.
That's retarded.
In what is supposed to be a zen, relaxing game, they couldn't settle in.
What the hell? Okay, first game like this that I played was the original Harvest Moon on the Super Nintendo. You know what I did in the first night? Because once it's night, it's forever night.
Yeah, exactly.
So the first night, I, 'tis me as I am, run through the entire farm field and remove every stone, every weed that I think for your energy, and build the entire thing and expand the fence as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just the entire first night, because the stones, I think you can live without expending your energy.
Well, there's a cheat.
So all that's left is the big stones and the big the tree trunks.
Yeah, there's a cheat where you run across your farm to the left and you enter the bath. And you jump back out of the bath. You recharge all your energy, and you can work all night doing it whatever you want. So
What?
yeah,
The first in the Super Nintendo Harvest Moon, the first one?
yeah, the first one, the first Harvest Moon. I remember doing that.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
I used to play Magical Melody on the GameCube.
All I exploited was that the night is endless, and then it's just chill.
Well,
And you know what? Farm life is not just chill, leaning on your fence and
That's the
chewing
thing,
on
like
a
these,
piece of wheat. It's work, and that you need to get all your merchandise into the box before the guy comes who gets it. That's
But that's because it's like a farming
great.
simulator. That's not
Yeah,
like
and that's
this
great.
guy's acting like there's an atom bomb that's going to blow up your farm
but
if you don't
it
do
is.
X in 30 seconds.
Yeah, but it is, because everything nothing you put in that day afterwards counts. So that is in a way a timer. There's no numbers running, but it's always the exact same time that happens. And after that, you can basically do what you want. But this first thing, you get out of bed, you have to collect as much stuff as possible, as much milk from the cows, as much other stuff, eggs and
yeah,
whatever's on the fields. And after that, you can do everything else. But this is the thing where you have to hurry, where you
Yeah.
have to work, and that is fine. That's what you should do in
that's
real life.
specific to time and raising a farm. But take the same concept of a calendar and apply that to an RPG, which is famously known in Persona. Every frickin' day is a school day until you hit summertime, and then you have vacation time. I think that's a whole school year. Every Persona game from 3 to 5 does this. So if you don't like timing, if you don't like planning your day, I got to go visit Yusuke. We got to go hang out and increase the social link, and then we go train, get some strength going. Like, you got to figure that out. That's what you do in
No,
life.
you don't. You really don't, especially not for the Persona games. The game's not gonna end if you don't plan out your days. The game will tell you when something important is about to pop up.
Like,
And the
oh
reason I
yeah,
say
yeah,
that is
for sure.
because
The events.
important stuff, like the actual game, begins in New Game Plus anyway.
Right. So it's very streamlined. It helps you out, but it's still a structured approach to telling a story where every day is school, and then you have the weekends and all these curricular activities, all these plans, like there's dozens and dozens of characters you have to keep track of. It's reminiscent of what would a kid at school be like in Tokyo for Persona 5, which is fine. It's fun. It doesn't cause stress.
What's funny is one of the things I hate, like in real life, is I hate having a time limit. But ironically, when I'm playing like a single player game that has time associated events, I find it very fun. The only thing that I don't like is if there's like one of those online games where there's like time limited events where it's like, oh, if you don't play today and tomorrow, you're not going to get this item. And it's like, okay, well, good luck holding a job and getting that item at the same time. So I hate shit like that, like where they're trying to scam you. But when it's like a single player game like Majora's Mask that has time associated events, I find that really cool. Like I really love the Game Boy Advance Pokemon games because of the timing system.
Yeah. Oh, I love that too.
You know why? Because it makes me feel like the game is still going when I'm not playing it. Because like when I play it, it makes me feel like there's more to do, and it makes me look forward to the next time I play it. Because it's like, oh, this plant is going to be grown the next time I play it. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, this NPC is going to be over here at this time tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that.
It was nighttime in Pokemon. It used to have exclusive Pokemon at night as well.
Yeah.
So that's where you'll find the ghost types and Spinarak back in the day.
I loved going out at night in Pokemon Diamond. That was some of the most comfy stuff I've ever done.
That was my first Pokemon game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, going out there at night, like 7 p.m., like in real life, pulling out a DS and going, oh yeah, 7 p.m. here too. And then walking up to a tree, putting honey on there and seeing that bee Pokemon come out, I was like, yes! I have conquered the day-night cycle.
It's like really exciting to have like things that change depending on what time it is.
Yeah, I think
it's only when it's like one of those games where it's like, oh, if you don't play on this day, you don't get it. It's like, well, I have a fucking job, so thank you.
If you don't fill out the battle pass, you're gonna miss out on it. Oh,
yeah, that shit is really toxic. That shit is really toxic.
I think the day-night cycle, the weather cycles, those are all things people enjoy from games. Some games nowadays still don't have them. It's kind of odd not to see it sometimes, especially in detailed games like Pathfinder, and you don't have 3D camera spinning. It's like, why can't I? You're in a 3D engine. Why can't I spin my camera? So stuff like little things like that drive me a bit nuts.
Baldur's Gate 2 had a day-night cycle.
Yeah.
And there was different stuff happening. And weather and shit, right?
Like, I think that the latest game, I would say, like, the latest game I'm aware of that had, like, I mean, maybe Persona 5 had this because you brought up Persona. I haven't played Persona, but a lot of people had told me I would like it. Is Metal Gear Solid 5. They had stuff like that. They had a weather system. They had a time system. And then as you level up your mother base, your intel will be better so that you can better plan and coordinate your missions based on what time it's going to be. Because it's like, oh, there's incoming weather and like there's like a dust storm incoming. I'm going to be using that.
Yeah. See, this is all good for strategy, and especially if you're playing a game where there's a time loop or you could respawn or come back. It's like, okay, now I know what to do. I know how to do it better. Just like if you played a single player game without time, it's like, okay, I failed the level. I'm going to go back and try this jump again or whatever the obstacle was. So this is all part of learning. This is all part of gaming. This is normal. It just happens to involve a stage with various differences over time.
I will also add to this that what if not games are supposed to teach you how to deal with anxiety, stress, pressure? If you can't even do it in a video game. If you can't get used to it there.
Well, some people play games because they want to relax. So I can understand.
Yeah, then there's games
like I can
for
understand. I can understand not liking it. Like I'm fine with people not liking it, but when people say it's objectively bad, I find that irritating.
When I whine
Like
about it,
I
that's
can
my
totally
problem.
sympathize. I can actually completely sympathize with someone being frustrated with timed scripted events. I get it. But to say that that's objectively bad, it's like, well, no, it's actually quite impressive that they managed to
Well,
incorporate it.
no. Let's not get ahead
Here
of
we're talking about a
ourselves.
farming game.
Let's not
Yeah.
get ahead of ourselves. No one has said it's objectively bad yet. In
Oh no,
fact,
I'm not talking
he
about you guys. I'm not talking
No,
about
no,
you
no.
guys.
No,
No,
he
I'm-
hasn't made a point yet.
He just said the main dimension of it, that in a farming simulator where you are, the work you can do in a day is limited because a day is limited. That's part
Yeah.
of the farming simulation. You have to organize how you work, how you structure your day. If that is too stressful for you, one, play another game. Two, you're not ready for the world outside your window.
Okay, let's not get into personal attacks.
I was gonna say, I think you're getting a little personal about it.
I'm not taking anyone personally. I'm saying this generally. If this applies to you, you may feel attacked.
Well, but it's just that some people play video games because they want to relax after a hard day of
Then
work in
play
real
a
life.
relaxing game.
Okay. Let's keep going.
I want to see a reaction video
Nice
of these
daylight
guys playing
added-
Minecraft.
Oh. What do you say?
I want to see a reaction video of these guys who hate the night cycle playing Minecraft. Just imagine their first night.
Sure to maximize their time. And this is what I really want to talk about today, how the presence of a timer, regardless of the genre of game or really even the genre of everyday activity, clouds our judgment and warps our focus.
Really?
What?
Really? It's.
Clouds your judgment. Okay. Interesting.
Did it stop?
21 minutes for this.
All right. Yeah, he's bold claims, but okay. He's got some
not even-
research data, I'm sure.
He's got 17 minutes to explain how time affects our judgment and our actions in video games. Buddy, let me be honest with you.
I would say-
You're not going to have the time to cover shit.
I would say that it's like, if you have a time limit, that's definitely going to alter your thoughts and behavior, but I wouldn't go so far as to say, like, it twists your judgment or whatever it is that he said. Warps your judgment.
You know what's a timer with severe consequences? Playing Bayonetta on hardest difficulty, and the 2 frames between dodging and not dodging.
Again, you could put the concept of timer.
It's a
in every
timer.
part of it. Yeah,
You have
you
2
could put-
frames. 1,
you-
2, you get hit.
You're having way too much fun with this.
You can put a timer on everything, and that's why I'm like, no, you're not going to be able to do that unless you say you need a box in the corner with a literal time, like counting down. Unless you're going that specific from like games in 1985 or whatever.
Okay. So if I get verbose data on the screen from Bayonetta that shows all the frame animation cycles of all the enemies, do I then have your rule fulfilled?
Frame data is not a timer.
That time
That is not the
sure.
same thing. Frame?
Sure.
No, it's not.
Because
Frame
if I don't
data is
react
not a
if
timer.
I do not react in
Come
time,
on.
Let's
bad
keep going.
things happen. I die.
Here's
my.
Here's Krogris. Hey, Krogris, how's it going? Despite the title, if you keep watching, you'll see he doesn't hate the mechanic, and in fact, he likes it. The video is about how different kinds of people feel about timers, not himself specifically. It's a
Okay.
It's a It is a psychology video.
Okay.
Yeah.
I took that from
I don't know what a psychology video is in regards to a guy talking about other people, but okay.
Research for you, as well as examples of how it ties into games, when timers work well, when they don't, and 2 games that I personally think are some of the best ways games have ever taken a countdown and done something really juicy with it. So without wasting a second more, welcome to Psych of Play. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a gamer in possession of a new game must be in want of playing said game.
Have you ever been on Steam, my guy?
And when said game has some form of time limit, whether it be for the entire game or simply a small portion of that game, suddenly, by the very fundamental nature of the software, the game is now limiting how much of itself can be played in one go. What I mean is, one big turnoff of countdowns is that they make you prioritize how you spend your time. So if you are the type of person who likes to search every nook and cranny of a dungeon for bonuses, you may not be able to do so because you're on a tight schedule.
You should not be
That was a
using
great use of that Ed, Edd n Eddy scene.
But he should not be using Persona games as a reference. Those games incentivize you going for an entire dungeon in a single day. They have specific mechanics that reward you for, if you're not a dumbass, that you can go for an entire dungeon in a single day. That's how Persona 4 speedruns are possible. They just clear the entire dungeon in one go, and then the rest of the week, you just been mid-maxing the relationships for bonuses.
Now you've got making tough decisions. Okay, do I have time to grab that item? Should I try to fight this guy? Can I finish this before sundown? Is this side quest really worth my time? Decisions that are only necessary due to that little ticking clock, and that's kind of the point. Timers make us prioritize.
I'm going to pause it here. I actually do agree with what he's saying here, how you have to like the adrenaline rush of having a time limit for the way certain games incorporate it. I actually think that was well said.
It really depends on what the reason is for the timer. I recall, believe it or not, the timer on the Arrival DLC for Mass Effect 2, which was fake. But it gave you the sense of, oh my god, this thing I'm on is falling apart. I got to get the hell out of here before I die. So the music kicks in. You have a reason to get somewhere, even if there is no timer. So that kind of, it would be better if there was a timer. It would be, oh my god, I gotta run through this. I gotta kill everyone as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Like one time I showcased with my friend, we were playing Dead Space 1, and the very beginning scared the shit out of me because like everything goes black and then you have to run. But then I found out that you can just briskly walk and you'll be fine. And then it'll just suddenly, like this ship is falling apart around you, and you just briskly, like calmly, Isaac just walks down the hallway with this frantic music playing, alarms, people screaming, and then once you get to the elevator, he suddenly snaps into a running animation and slams the door behind him before the necromorph can kill him. I was like, wow, that was dumb. Completely artificial, like, you can just walk down the hall and survive.
Exactly.
Almost immediate.
So there's nothing wrong with a game setting up this scenario. It's just you have to have the consequence of failure, or else there's no value to it.
You want something real spicy? You guys ever heard of The Longing?
No.
It's a game that takes 400 not 400 hours.
Oh, I heard of that game.
To finish. 400 days to finish. Thanks for that.
Okay, guys, push to talk is a thing. Let's use that.
But yeah. The Longing is a great example of using a timer. And in the game, you walk real slowly, and the only thing you have to entertain yourself is a book. And that book is the entirety of Moby Dick. A story about a man attempting to conquer the unconquerable and becoming obsessed with it. In a game that takes 400 days to finish.
That sounds...
Why does it take 400 days to finish?
That's the metaphor. Is that it becomes a goal for a person. Somebody's going to spend 400 days to beat this game just to spite the creators.
Okay.
400 days of the game running.
Yep.
Sounds like I'd rather just read the book.
Oh, you can read
I own the book.
So the game is just the timer?
Oh,
Stopwatch.
You can walk around and explore the place, but there is though, and you're gonna have to have the game open up for a total of 400 days. Or speed hack it, you know. I'm not your mom.
Well, I could have used that while reading Wheel of Time.
It would be nice if it was any book. You just put any book into the game, you could read it there. It's like, okay.
Rich comments, wow, what a burp. Look, you got a fan, you okay?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Just don't aim at the microphone.
Intent, but incidentally, they also distract us from being able to do so efficiently. You see, prioritization is a process we do in our working memory. If you don't know what working memory is, it's essentially the part of your memory that you use as a mental sketch pad. It's what you are immediately thinking about. If I show you a series of numbers and shapes and then take them away, they're now sitting in your working memory for you to play with and will remain there until something else, a thought, a song, someone asking you a question, more numbers and shapes, really any stimulus takes its place. If you're doing math, you might pull a squared plus b squared equals c squared from your long-term memory, but our working memory is what hangs on to these numbers for a second, plugs them into this equation you've just recalled, and decides what to punch into a calculator. And as you can imagine, your working memory is doing backflips when you play a game. You're flooded with prompts, decisions, health bars, DPS values, buffs, debuffs, status effects, chips, badges, obstacles, potential mixes, enemies, friendlies, keys, locks, moral conundrums, and yes, sometimes a time limit. Which for a lot of people adds an additional layer of stress. And as I'm sure you are acutely aware if you've ever taken a standardized exam, your working memory is highly sensitive to interference from stressors. It's so sensitive, in fact, that a handful of psychologists gave this phenomena a bougie name, attentional control
Bougie
theory.
name?
According to this theory, anxiety hinders our working memory specifically by disrupting our ability to control attention, making us much more vulnerable to distraction. Essentially, intrusive, stressful thoughts about task-irrelevant things cloud our working memory. If you are taking an exam and you begin to struggle on a question, an important thought would be, okay, I know it's not B, probably not D, let me go from there. Task-irrelevant thoughts might be, why did this topic have to be on here? Why does it feel like all the hard ones are at the beginning? And why were the last 3 questions all C? Did I get those wrong? Should I go back and double check those? And a timer only pours gas on that fire. According
What
to
is
attentional
that?
control.
Is that how normal brains work?
Yeah.
That's for people who
Okay.
can't answer a question and they're struggling.
No,
Yeah.
but no. I just said a test and I don't know the answer. Let's go next question.
Well, that's like the most. Yeah, that's like that's an example of what you should do.
Yeah, but I can't imagine thinking like that guy. I'm broken, I guess.
Let's use logic to answer this question when I don't know the answer. It's like, okay, you could do that, but it'd be better if you studied.
Try.
Yeah, but what's the point in wondering about how the test is structured when
What's
you
the
don't know the answer?
what's
Just
the
Because that's when
probability?
because that's when you're stressed out and you start thinking shit like
Yeah,
that.
what's the probability of answering the same multiple choice question in series? It's like, why are you even bothering to worry
To
about
be honest, if you're worried about or if you're thinking about irrelevant stuff like how the exam is structured, like if you have the free space to do that, the exam isn't hard enough.
Yeah, this is I
Like
find
when-
this example highly illogical.
Like when I was in my English exam some years ago now, I wasn't thinking, oh man, why did it have to be about Sherlock Holmes? I was like, okay, so I'll have to break down this entire section and read into the grammar and the actual meaning of the words. I was thinking, oh man, fuck these guys for giving me this section. No, you don't think like that.
I actually thought it was a rather good example. Like one thing that'll happen to me sometimes is I'll actually be like when I get the 3 C's in a row, for example, I'll do that. Or another thing I'll do is I'll say, let me skip this question and go to the next one. And depending on how strict my time limit is, I'll actually start skipping questions to the point that I'm not even doing it anymore. I'm just like, okay, I just skipped 5 questions. I'm going to have to pick one and do it now. And then I'll actually end up wasting time skipping questions sometimes. And the severity of the time limit, like depending on how much time I have left, I'll be more likely to make a bad decision on when I should skip a question versus when I should sit there and do it. That's one example. So I thought it was a good example.
Again, my problem with this is that he's trying to crank such a basic ass concept as a time limit affecting how you make decisions into a 21-minute video where 4 minutes are spent. Well, 1 minute is spent doing his ad, and 3 minutes are spent doing his theoreticals, just setting up how he want or why he wanted to make the video in the first place.
I would just damn, I'm tired. I'm missing the part yet. I hope he gets to it. That there is positive and negative stress, and that time limits can give you positive stress to actually get the shit done.
All right.
But what I'm wondering is that if it's supposed to be a best-worst mechanic, he's not really covered the why on the positive, just the, it puts on stress, and then it twists our choice making and whatnot.
Well, he still has more than half of the time for that.
So you guys actually bothered to take the test. I gave up after the first question, guessed all the answers, and still passed with an A.
Mm-hmm.
What?
That happened in college.
Clearly, that was a stupid test, and someone should be fired for that.
I actually yelled out in class when I got the results that I passed with a really good grade, and I was honest in front of the class. I said, I guessed on every single answer. And teacher's like, okay, you get your grade.
That is the weakness of multiple choice.
Yeah.
All right.
Theory, since our working memory has its limits, stressors sort of clog our immediate thoughts and make it tough to keep the actual important information in front of us. This leads to presumably a worse cognitive performance. You're not as efficient and you're not as effective, particularly on complex tasks. And
but there's still more to be done. They look for the kill. Rep's going to come in and Brock's going to get the kill credit on that one.
yes, this is something we've probably all experienced in one form or another. Maybe you're worried you weren't doing enough damage to win in time, but instead of thinking of a new strategy, you're making a...
Either I am completely misinterpreting myself, or I am since early childhood. Because in early childhood, yeah, that works like that. Sure, you get stressed out and do stupid shit. But the older I got, the more it was more the opposite effect. That when I get into this stress, like there's a deadline, everything unimportant just falls away. And all I see left in my head is the relevant parts and how to structure them. And like, I don't know. It's like listening to opposite world for me.
Well, it depends because people gauge.
Some people are like that.
People gauge psychology a bit differently. They always say, I don't know if you guys have heard of the True Colors test. You do it in an early age, you do it again at your later age, and people naturally become more golden or more gold. Because gold is the organized, orderly people who plan. It doesn't matter what your job is or what you're doing. You always plan something. Every day you might have a to-do list or a routine or something like that. You know you have to do, how you do it, and you get up early or whatever. That's what adults do. That's what people with responsibilities do. So it's natural to go that route. And hopefully we do that for many things in our lives, but not everyone does that with their finances or their cooking or their baking and shopping, what have you. So this is natural. And you get out of the fear because you've been doing something for so long. You do tests for so long. You play games for so long. You watch horror movies for so long. It doesn't bother you anymore. It's not the peak response that you get psychologically is no longer there. It doesn't bother you as much. You're used to it.
Desensitization to panic?
Yeah. To adrenaline, to norepinephrine, to things touching your hand. It doesn't matter what the stimulus is.
He did exactly what I thought he was gonna do, and this proves Yokai's earlier point about iframes not being counted as timer, because he just showed a game of League of Legends in which the pros need a pretty high reaction time, or to quickly act. He didn't show the actual time at the top of the screen that tells you when there's going to be specific map buffs and when the
there's no
going to respawn and that stuff. He just focused on the speed of the actual fight.
Yeah, that's a very different example for what he was talking about.
Yeah, that's comparing something like what's this character going to do at this time for this scripted event with something like performing a Just Guard in Soul Calibur. I think those are two very different concepts. Exactly. I mean, I understand it, I get it, but I just think those are two, like, I understand they both involve timing to an extent, but one is reflex timing and the other is planned timing. Those are two completely different concepts. I don't think you can compare them.
That's what I meant when I said that this isn't long enough. You're not going to be able to cover the concept of time in 16 minutes.
You got to get Einstein in here.
No, Einstein said for weeks just thinking about theories before he actually came out and said anything.
I was starting to kind of agree with him, but then I realized that the stress I got when you play Pokemon, when you battle online, there is a timer in the battle, and I was thinking, oh, it's because of the timer I kind of do get stressed out, but no, I realize it's not that, because you got a pretty good amount of time between turns to make your move and everything, unless it's the actual official competitions. And I just realized, no, I just don't want to lose because I will lose my ranking. That's what's stressing me out.
In Pox Nora, I did actually get stressed out in the turns because with some decks that I played, I barely had enough time to click everything and every unit and every spell and it was all over the map and like it kind of barely exactly hit on point and though it's always nice when the enemy just gave up because there's too much happening and the enemy feels overwhelmed because you managed your overwhelming of your own army.
In Pokemon, they have like, what was that?
Wisp wrapped up per point. Go.
Okay, so like in Pokemon, you would have people who purposely make teams just to stall out the clock and all that. And those guys are called assholes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is a genuine skill, though, to be able to win that way.
Yeah, it is.
You just take a Lakazam with self-heal, and then that's that.
It is a strategy. It's just back now
that's
they
the word
kind
I
of
was
fixed
looking for, strategy.
Yeah. Now that they kind of fixed it, it's not as bad because the turns are a lot shorter. But you had like several minute turns. You just had to sit there and wait for your opponent to do something.
Minutes?
And
yes.
Fucking falling asleep waiting for the opponent.
Oh god.
I just I would make teams that had certain members just purposely made to beat that. And they all rage quit. These guys are just the biggest assholes. They all would rage quit.
Again, I think he's just opened a can of worms that he can't. He's opened Pandora's box. That box ain't closing now. That he's opened up to. Oh, it's not just having a visual timer that stresses you out. Now it's just you gotta act this quickly within this set of time.
All right.
The thought, all this time will be wasted.
Oh, was there a super
Let's
chat,
go.
or you just want
Let's
to
go.
Oh, all right.
If I fail, sneaks in, and you have to spend energy dealing with that. If you're playing Mario Party and you really need to win this minigame, you might get so distracted looking at the other person's screen, appreciating just how far behind you are, that you completely neglect to focus on actually catching back up.
I have never seen anyone ever.
That sounds like a lie.
It's made up.
Yeah, I would like to see somebody actually do an eye test in Mario Party. I never see anyone go take the time off their schedule on their own part of the minigame to look over on the other person's screen. That's
I think a better example for. I think this minigame is actually a good example for it, but he said the wrong thing.
No, it's a horrible example for
No.
it's horrible.
Let me finish what I'm going to say. What he should have said was, this is more of a multitasking thing with the eyes than it is a time thing, because what you want to do is sometimes when your opponent is ahead of you, it's skillful to see what obstacles your opponent passes so that you can predict the obstacles you're going to come across. Okay. Now you have a little bit of an advantage in that you can predetermine the obstacles and catch up that way.
His claim was to see how far ahead the enemy is. Do you see the little score that's in the center of the screen? You see
No,
that?
I know. He was talking more about being frustrated that you're behind. That's not what
Yeah,
I'm
but
talking about. I'm talking about multitasking.
Yeah, but you don't look at the other screen for that. That's bullshit.
But you can.
I appreciate
You
what
can, but it's bullshit.
It's a genuine strategy to catch up.
No.
I appreciate what
Yeah.
you're
Genuine
trying to-
strategy to catch up is to concentrate on how you play better and take these corners here a little
Yeah, but this is a
more
racing
sharp.
mini game. So if you
Yes, it's a racing
if
minigame,
you and
so
your
you take the
opponent
corners sharper.
if you and your opponent are going down the same track, it's advantageous for you to see what your opponent sees
Okay.
if they're ahead of you.
That is,
Okay.
it's different.
Because then they might
That is
hit
not-
one of the
that was not
obstacles,
his
and you
point.
know I know that,
You're
but
okay,
it should
you're
have been
okay,
its
you're okay.
point.
Okay. I get what you're saying. That's not his point. Let's see what his wraps his point up with, shall we?
So shaken by that mistake.
Oh, never mind. He just ends it there.
You know, if you want a look at the other person's screen, the other player's screen argument, if you want to make that, you talk about shooters where you can see guess the position of the other player. In a racing game, it is completely irrelevant. Seriously.
Well, in that
Concentrate on
specific
your own
minigame, it's like a 30-second course, and sometimes your opponent might make one less mistake than you do, and now they're ahead.
Yeah, but you don't need to look at it. And his argument was to see how far ahead the enemy is. I can see the enemy on my screen in front of me. That's how I know how far away the enemy is. Like,
Well, he was just talking about being upset that they're ahead of you and focusing
no, it's
on
just
that
a dumb
and not
argument.
catching up.
It's just he didn't think this through.
It's again, this just is a consequence of trying to squeeze all this stuff into such a brief video. He's going to make mistakes like this.
Yeah, he should have dedicated one video to scripted time events and day and night cycles, and then a separate video to like short-term reflex timing, like in fighting games.
By the way, by opening up the can of worms that are racing games and the distance between you and your enemy, you also open up that distance is time.
Okay, let's not cut that right.
Let's keep going.
Really fucking go.
Focus on how many times you can afford to fail, and this distracts you from actually playing well enough to win. You see, the timer adds an inevitable threat and a stressor to what is usually already a very complex set of actions and decisions, taxing the working memory to a degree that is extremely uncomfortable. Usually when we play a game, a handful of things are important at any given moment. How much health you have, which way you plan to go, if you should block or attack. But when we add in a time limit, suddenly all of the things become important at once.
No, do you know how that works? So I don't know if you ever tried this, but have you ever tried just ignoring the timer and playing the game because the game always has enough time? Just ignore the timer.
There are very
There's
few
also
games
skill as a thing.
Yeah, there are very few games that come off the top of my head where timers are usually so restrictive that it has a severe effect on actually getting through it unless it's a specific time test. Like you see a lot of open world games.
Yeah, there's usually minutes or if it's short bits, several seconds, tens of seconds left at the end. Even if you play mediocre, this if you're not playing on some super hard achievement thing, the timers are completely irrelevant. Just learn to ignore them, and this is an important lesson for real life on how to not let you be stressed out by someone pressuring you with you need to get this done, you need to get this done, you need to get this done, you need to get you need to die or you lose your job. Because when that happens, the thing that he described with that test can happen where your brain just overloads with all the unnecessary shit and you can't actually work on the thing anymore. So you just ignore, so you know there's a deadline, but you ignore the pressure of time and just work on it.
We got two great comments in chat here. Kyogre says some games timers can't be ignored, which is very true. Bayonetta's iframes is a great example. But again, The issue is that the topic is so broad that you can't say whether the timers can be, and this includes myself. There's no statement about timers in games that can be made that can envelop all of them, because it is so subjective to what you count as time in these games. And he's already said, okay, visual timers and reaction time within a specific set amount of time. And the second comment is, Romero says, he's saying it like every player goes into a panic attack whenever there is a time limit.
Yeah, well, how about games where they're turn-based and they're also scary, like XCOM? You still flip out over stressing out over losing a unit or turning the corner and finding a horde of aliens. So it doesn't, like, time is one element of that, but it's not this all-encompassing key factor for screwing you up.
Playing tabletop RPGs, if you've ever played a tabletop RPG with a very, very tight fight scene, like against monsters, whatnot, like if Goblin crits you, you have 1 HP left, and next time someone hits you, it's game over for you. That stuff, despite being turn-based, which has no real timer on until you roll the dice.
Well, the timer is the turn.
Yeah, but the timer on a tabletop RPG doesn't continue until you roll the dice.
Yeah, then you get to the next, as if to the next second. It's like you can play a 4X game and oh, there's this giant enemy fleet approaching my homeworld. It's gonna be here in 7 turns.
RPG.
Then it's the same thing.
All right.
Or at least that's how it feels. Your working memory tries to put things in order of importance, but then the stress compounds with every decision. Every death is sweatier, every mistake cuts deeper, every hesitation is unforgivable, and every decision is heavier.
Please be specific about the games that you're referring to, my man.
Yeah. Kyoger in the chat, can you give some examples of games where you think that the timers are more relevant?
Again, that's the problem with this entire format.
Yeah, outside of racing games or things where that's the whole point. So, okay.
I'm just looking at that Minecraft footage, and it's like, why does everybody build their house that way? You just need half slabs for the first night. All that wood could have made you could have made a half slab.
Just dig a hole.
It's pretty.
Obviously,
you could do that after the
everyone
first night.
is this affected by timers, and the research reflects this.
Thank you. We're at 10 minutes, and he finally brings up the other side of the coin.
Yeah, it's a halfway point. Halfway point, other side of the coin.
Yay.
Perfect. It's like no, it doesn't rhyme.
All right.
The different subject performance in timed versus untimed exams, for example, based on a lot of research I found, was more a factor of individual traits like introversion, anxiety, perfectionism, and stressor perception than just the timer. If countdowns don't bother you, it may be because you don't feel the need to perfectly maximize your time. For you, this is just a challenge and you're here for it. Another thing to consider is that not all timers are created
No, you can do
equal.
both.
The timer in Overcooked does not bring the same dread that the timer in, say, Lightning Returns or Outer Wilds does. One is intended to manifest comedic chaos, the other is to communicate an impending doom. Or something, I still haven't played Outer Wilds. Neon White makes you hit certain times on every stage to progress, but you can instantly retry, and you'll want to, same with any 2D Mario. They're as forgiving as they are inviting. The stakes are low, whereas other games might be much more punishing if you fail to get the job done in time. Or they might just be seen as an annoyance more than an obstacle. Like in Pandora's Tower, where if you are running out of time, you have to skedaddle back out of a dungeon midway through to feed your girl the flesh of monsters so that she doesn't transform into a demon. We've all been there, for my wife is Chick-fil-A fries. In other games like Dead Rising, the timer may be so generous that it doesn't really affect you. Fire Emblem Three Houses was technically on a timer, much like Persona. You're limited with how many calendar days you have to work with, but there's so many days to go around that you might find yourself wasting time just to advance the game. You have plenty of opportunities to maximize. So for those reasons, not all timers stress all people. There are folks that welcome a little bit of excitement from being on the clock, and there are others who are uncomfortable with timers in farming sims. However,
Really, he should have started the video out with this.
Well,
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree with that. This would have been a better opener.
there's so many ways to characterize these things, and he could have said, okay, timers are essential in racing games. Timers aren't essential in these games, and they don't cause as many focuses of the player to put their attention to. It's like, yes, you're right. There's many value we put to numbers, and a timer is one of them.
If Stardew Valley gives you unbearable anxiety, you need to see a doctor. And I mean this seriously. You have issues.
And he tackles that question here, where he says that, no, it's not just because there's a timer. It depends on who you are. Like, are you used to these kinds of stresses? Do you have anxiety? Are you are you a secular individual that spends all this time playing video games and watching stressful shit like horror and whatnot? Like, that's a much better opener than, oh, you're looking at the clock and it's 1 in the morning and you only got 5 hours to sleep. No, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Go.
However, there is one countdown that I think does get players just a little bit frazzled in the best kind of way. There's a little Game Boy title that nowhere near enough of you played. We've all hopped on the back of a Yoshi, but only a select
Land
few
4.
of us have used an allergic reaction to avoid taking the stairs. Wario Land 4 is one of the biggest hidden gems out there, and in my opinion, it has almost the perfect execution of a countdown. You see, in this game, you have to hop into these little sub-stages to hunt down a handful of things. A ghost key to open the next stage, a collectible CD, lots and lots of money of course, and 4 of these gem shards to unlock the boss of that area. Essentially, each dive into a level is a loot run and you can play it multiple times if you missed something. You'll make trips into each stage, grab some goodies, and once you find one of these frog pedestals, the portal will open for you to come back to the hub area. Cool. Here's the catch. The frogs that let you into the stage are sweet. The frogs that let you out of the stage are strapped. So every time you reach the end of one of these areas, you have to make an Indiana Jones style escape before time runs out, or you lose everything
like
you
Master
found.
Chief.
Much like the ghost in Spelunky that hunts you down if you stick around too long in an area, you play a really tight-knit risk-reward game of exploring more of the level for more goodies or just getting to the exit safe and sound. But it doesn't stop there, because sometimes the stage is built such that you can't get all the shards or the key until you hit the timer. Sometimes parts of the stage open up once the bomb is lit, and now
God, I love this
you're
game.
overloaded with the thought, oh dear God, did I miss something or will I see it on the way out? Oh, and hey, in case you're fragile to this kind of thing, don't worry, because when you start the timer, Wario comforts you with some words of encouragement. Then you're hit with this diabolical banger of a song.
It's awesome.
All in
Yeah,
all,
this is like the
it
best
makes
game
for
ever.
one hell of an adrenaline rush. Now you might be thinking, okay, well at least I can catch my breath and
I only played Wario Land 1 and 2. I didn't know there was a 4.
Man,
Damn
you
it.
missed out.
Oh yeah.
start the timer whenever I'm ready. I can stop here and mentally prepare until I'm good to go.
That's where you're wrong.
Did I mention that in one level the portal opens right above the bomb so you immediately start on the timer?
If you reach this point in the level, you've already gotten used to these bombs. Be honest, man.
Mm-hmm. It won't stress you out at that point.
Is he like turning into Sonic here?
Yeah, it's Wario time.
It's Sonic, but really Wario.
Stay back, Sonic. I'm Warioing.
Forcing
I'm
you to
Morbin.
from the start, or that other levels will hide the
Lying
switch
time.
out of sight so that you accidentally activate it without warning. This game loves to cleverly toy with you. In between some of the level design and the presentation, altogether it clogs your working memory with thoughts like, come on man, please just sneeze on me already. Wait, have I gone this way? No, 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 no. What the hell is that? But somehow, it generally feels completely fair because much like an old Mario level, you can just retry without losing a ton of time. If you lose all the goods, that sucks, but you can still go get them. You weren't locked into a terrible ending. The stakes are there, but it isn't so punishing that it's off-putting.
But most games just have a retry button. Like in the Super Mario Galaxy example, you get kicked to the next, to the last checkpoint if you fail the bomb test. No. In the bomb test, if I remember correctly, if you fail, you can just retry. It's one of the
You just
optional
talk to them again and try again.
Yeah. So you don't even get punished for failing. They just go, try again.
Usually, the countdown starts after you are super familiar with the stage and its mechanics. You feel prepared to handle the route back. And I think this is when timers feel okay. When they're spicy enough to actually influence how you play without being annoying, but they don't have so much bite that they cause you to get completely overwhelmed. As we
So
Please give me an example of bad timers.
he's just describing any mechanic that whose limits are not too high or too low, whose minimums and maximums are not too high or too low. It's like, yeah, that's everything in gaming. That's fine.
Oh, balance.
Well, he seems to think that the sweet spot for having a timer is consequence. Don't have the consequence be too much, but don't have it be too much of a slap on the wrist either. Have it be just right. That's the sweet spot.
I would say consequence would go with playing the game in the first place. So if you have a good reason to do what you're doing, whether it's a bomb or a plot or both, or pick a bunch of reasons why your character has to get from A to B, that is interesting enough for you to have your attention taken by this experience. So if it makes sense that there's a timer, cool. I think Metroid had a few of those where you have to escape a room. I think multiple Metroid games had that as well. So you're used to that mechanic because it's commonplace. So you're like, all right, it's a Metroid game. I expect that. It's not like out of the blue, I'm playing, I don't know, Yoshi's Story, and I gotta run to the end. There's a timer that came out of nowhere. I was like, why? I'm a cute little dinosaur carrying a baby, or was it Baby Mario? I can't remember.
That was,
Yeah, it's Baby
was
Mario.
Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, Yoshi's Island. Okay. So.
But yeah, I'm really confused about this sudden change in. I should rephrase that. The spicy take, or my spicy take of the day, is that once again there is no catch-all perfect timer for the games. It entirely depends on what the game is designed for. If there are plenty of games like Darkest Dungeon which are built to put stress on you, which makes it more satisfying when you get out of a dungeon.
Yeah.
Every time you move in Darkest Dungeon, your torch goes out, or torch dies out a level. If you don't keep that torch lit, your hero's gonna miss more, they're gonna get more stress, and they're gonna
I
take
love
more
Darkest
damage.
Dungeon.
But you'll also get better loot.
Indeed, and you get more crits.
Well,
The enemy gets more crits.
there's that
No, you get more
wonderful
crits too.
there's that wonderful mechanic in Nier Automata where you have to go into your upgrade screen to fix your AI from blowing up or whatever it was, and you have to do it or else the game ends. So it's like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that thing. I have to collect enough equipment to do that. So yeah, I mean it's an ongoing thing that you tell the back of your mind. It's not important right now, but I have to worry about it later. So
Don't rip out your main CPU.
yeah, that's not a good idea.
You get a special ending if you do.
No.
Established, everyone is different, but I feel like Wario Land 4 is convincingly the sweet spot for this mechanic. Something that is, however, not in the sweet spot, and I mean that as a massive compliment, is a game called Unsighted.
Okay.
In this game, both your character and all of your new friends are doomed. There is a power source called anima that essentially gives all of the inhabitants of Arcadia consciousness. Without it,
Wow.
automations become unsighted, primal, and rabid, forever lost to violently wander in search of more anima. There is no turning back for those that become unsighted. And in your journey to restore the source of the anima and save all of your friends, you will be asked to confront both a horde of enemies and the clock to keep both yourself and as many fellow automations alive as you can with what little anima you do find. When you speak to a character, their remaining life expectancy is displayed. You can check on them all at any time from the pause screen, and anytime you enter a new room, you are reminded of your own life expectancy. At all times, you are acutely aware of just how much time everyone has left to live. And so you can use spare anima in the form of meteor dust you find to increase the lifespans of yourself or of, say, this blacksmith. He will be grateful and it'll get you a discount on
character
weapons,
animations look
but he will
massively
also remind
weird.
you that his sister's days are numbered as well, and that
Okay, I think this is a really neat showcase.
Mechanic.
Yeah, showcase of mechanic and how it is built into the game. But oh my god, you got 4 minutes left. You need to cover the rest of the entire usage of like time as mechanic. Please, you don't have the time to focus this much on this game. Please.
Yeah. Yeah. Also,
The
Lana
irony,
was
he's running
right
out
to
of
get
time.
higher player crits.
you should share some with her. And so you feel this pull between wanting to keep characters alive for their usefulness and wanting to keep others alive simply because you're weirdly attached to them. It adds an eerie dissonance to know that you may not be able to save everyone, and that in fact you may be forced for the greater good to spend spare meteor dust on one character who is more useful to you, even if you aren't emotionally invested in them, effectively sacrificing another that you truly care for. In one 2012 study, researchers studied the effect of stress on moral decision-making. They gave subjects a hypothetical decision to make in both stressed and unstressed conditions. The decision was essentially, would you sacrifice one person to save the lives of several others? In the event the decision maker
Yes.
was stressed and the decision was presented from a personal perspective where the decision maker is required to take direct action to
It's a
sacrifice a
utilitarian
person, the
question.
participant was much less likely to do so. In this case, being anxious made participants more receptive to their feelings than to logic. Unsighted presents the
Being anxious makes you more Yes, thank you. It's great.
This is a much more complex thing because the logic can also is the logic to save more people, or is the logic to save one person that is actually capable of saving more people down the line, or is it someone so personally valuable to you that you don't give a fucking shit?
Yeah,
Because that's
Yeah.
not just an emotional question, that is also an imperative survival question.
yeah. The
of-
parameters of that experiment are kind of vague. We don't know exactly what is happening there. But the fact that
because simply saying that that's just saving one person over several is the feeling option and not the logic option. It's very short-sighted.
yeah, but if the
Because if you
deduction
teach,
or-
if you teach people from a young age that the only good option is to save many people and not the few, even no matter how attached you are to them, then that becomes your emotional thing.
yeah,
or
but
can.
if you're feeling
It's stupid.
anxious and anxiety causes you to feel other or be more sensitive to other emotions, you could say that about any emotion or any feeling or any stimuli. It's like, hey, this iron rod in my foot causes me to think about sadness more. It's like, yeah, it hurts like hell.
Yeah, you got an iron in your foot. Of course you're going to be crying.
It's like, yes, many emotions cause you to think about your emotions. This is true.
Drunken Mumble says, you can speedrun this game so hard though. He's describing your first run basically. It's not even that difficult of a game, honestly. Which is also part of why I think he needed to either make this a series or take a much more specific example.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a main gameplay mechanic, and there's lots of ways to make a currency system or multiple materials in a game have its own economy and have its own value. So that's good, but you can't, like, if it was like punishing, if it was like this War of Mine, where you have very, very limited resources and you have to make choices that will cause you anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot different than a timer or a resource system or resource management that we have limited resources.
Never forget, this War of Mine had the balls to make one of the events that always happen on your runs is a woman that's about to be raped to death. You have the option to either loot the entire place and leave, or go in there and spend your resource to help her out. That takes balls.
Yeah, so anxiety and comparing that to this game is like, it's just you're collecting stuff.
Oh, Metro does that too, and I think it's 2033, where there's two guys that's about to do it to a woman, and if you don't help her out, she suffers a heart attack.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like just a small event. You're not it's like on the side road, and you don't get any. Oh yeah, you do get a positive karma for helping her out, but you don't suffer any consequences if you don't. You just leave.
Yeah, well, post-apocalyptic worlds are kind of like that.
But yeah, it's a interesting idea. I wish if that was what he wanted to cover, like, morally based currencies, whatever you want to call it, that would be much more interesting. But no, he just said timers in video games. It's like, okay, but this is like timer as a metaphor. Like,
yeah, if you're talking about emotions from game mechanics, you could say in general the timer does cause anxiety. It does cause you to be more sensitive. It's like, yeah, of course, anything that causes acuity in time or distance or building something, anything mechanically minded, your brain's going to start operating a little quicker. But the morals...
I'll go even farther. Anything that runs out. If the medkits you can buy in a game run out, then you don't have any more medkits and you can't replenish your health. Then that's basically is a very strange form of a timer.
Yeah, when you look at a Command and Conquer game, like any RTS game, all you're doing is mining resources. You need the resources to build so you could have enough force to conquer or stop whatever other force. Like, it's all resource management. So most games are kind of like that anyway. You need enough money to buy the weapons, to go do the thing, to build the thing, to make the accomplishment happen so you can start the next level.
That's actually a major part of the Total War game, or at least the good ones, like Medieval 2. In Medieval 2, which takes place in, surprise, surprise, the medieval ages for most of the European continent, the Black Death shows up, like the fucking plague. It shows up and it will wipe out most of your people, and it always strikes a very specific time, as it did historically. So if you know that's coming, so you can build your entire strategy around conquering a tiny bit of land, and then build up for when that happens, so you aren't hit as hard as everyone else, and then conquer everyone afterwards when they're small and weak. Or you can build a strategy of conquering the world before the plague hits. It has a level of replayability to it. It's really neat.
All right.
You wanted to say something about the emotional resource?
Well, yeah, we were going to talk... Well, he should have talked about the impact of certain mechanics and how they cause you to have an emotional reaction, and not just stress, not just anxiety or tension or all kinds of things you get from playing a game. The drama, I was hoping he would point out, because that could occur in many things, not just in mechanics. The reasons why you continue playing the game outside of a quest indicator telling you to go somewhere, why that's valuable to you. And I gave the example of Arrival DLC, right, where you have to run out of the station and get the heck out of there. It gives you a window to do something. And whether that's time or distance or A to B, whatever you measure, it's like, I have a job, I have a task, Why do I have this? Why does this matter to me? Why do I care? Why should I bother feeling? Did you give me the opportunity to feel through the dramatic reasons of the character? That's what I want to know about. Not, well, timers are kind of fast and they make you anxious. You're like, okay. Yeah.
Oh, Drunken tips it off with the ice block pushing puzzles are the hardest part of the game. There's only 3 of them in the game, I think. That's another one he could have done. Puzzles with timers on them. Those I despise most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
What about Dead Rising? That one has
That's not really a puzzle. That's more of an action timer game where you can play multiple times and still miss some survivors or miss some bosses. But that entire game is built around the timer. But yeah, he could have tackled those games in specific, but he decided to go for the broadest one.
I thought going into that game, it's just, oh, we're gonna have a fun time just mowing down zombies, and it's just Otis calling me. Oh, more survivors there. Oh no, Otis.
All right. Almost done.
We've effectively moved away from just timers to general counters.
Yeah.
As I feel.
And morals.
These exact types of decisions to you under the umbrella of a merciless time limit. There is a tangible sense of desperation and urgency that leaks into every little thing you do. Every mistake, every time you're lost, every nap to rest your battle-proven pup, every missed chest of meteor dust doesn't just burn your time, it burns someone else's as well. And since you are the only one person responsible, Unsighted's use of time creates a sense of unease and a genuine sorrow that, in my experience, other countdowns haven't even come close to. It should go without saying that if you haven't played, you really ought to give it a go.
Oh, so he made the video, spent so much time on Unsighted so he could shill it.
I don't know. This is any resource management game with a timer.
19-minute ad.
Yeah, oxygen, food, water, pick one. This one happens to be juice for being a robot or something. It gets consumed. I guess you gotta go shopping. I guess you gotta go foraging. It's like, okay, yeah, cool.
It's amazing what being constantly reminded of these seconds passing us can do. The clock ticks at the exact same speed when we're waiting for class to end, when we're stuck in traffic, when we're laughing hysterically with our friends, and when we desperately just want to fall asleep.
Oh God, he is just these fuck.
Sentence, please.
Sorry, I'm just okay.
Download Opera.
Yeah, download Opera. But fuck, he returns to the whole "oh, I can't sleep" metaphor. These are not comparable to a specific timer in Super Mario Galaxy.
Doesn't quite work, yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's spending the last few minutes of the video returning to his failed theoretical. And it's frustrating because they do this with every video of its kind.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get into the Outer Wilds because that actually has a really cool concept. And no one that's the great secret about Outer Wilds. No one talks about the Outer Wilds.
But Smuddy didn't even get to play it, so how could he show it if he didn't play it?
All the reviews start like that. No one. The first rule of Outer Wilds: no one talks about Outer Wilds.
If you want more time per second, actually fall asleep and dream, because the time in dreams runs very different from waking time.
Mike Bob asked,
if you can remember them.
Didn't he say this game was an example of bad timer? Yes, Mike. He said that it was a bad timer in a good way. He's not brought up a game that has a bad timer.
Yeah, I don't know how it's the worst mechanic or the best of the worst. I'm not sure.
It's bad because it makes stress, and it's good because it makes stress.
It's a mechanic that can be frustrating when it's not used properly.
But he's not
Like
used a
everything
game that
else.
uses it poorly.
All right, whatever.
perceive time is largely dependent on how much we are perceiving it.
Okay, let me just rewind that because I think I heard that wrong.
He said
To
exactly
fall
that.
asleep. The way we perceive
get what he's
time is
saying.
largely dependent on how much we are perceiving it.
What?
Oh.
In other words, no, he's saying how significant it is. Like when there's like an hour left of school, that hour feels like 5 fucking hours because you keep looking at the clock. That's what he means.
No,
by it.
no.
Like how much
Oh,
attention
God.
you're paying to it.
Look, the actual way that you perceive time is in retrospect. If nothing happened, then it's as if no time has passed in the past. If something happened, you have a memory, you make a memory, and that's how the time feels filled, as if actually stuff happened.
Yeah, he's
If
trying
for
to
days, weeks, and months nothing happened, it feels like that time, that lifetime.
He's trying to say the method upon which we perceive the passage of time is dependent on how long we're doing it. And I'm like, that's not.
Anything else is just boredom. If you
No,
actually
I think
do
he's
shit,
just saying how much you're
then
thinking about how much time you have.
just
Like if
fucking-
you're trying to
just-
finish something, you feel like you don't have enough time. But if you want to go home from school, you feel like you're there for a fucking 10 years when in reality it's only been a half hour.
I hope
That's all he's
that's
saying.
the simple
Yeah, but
way.
He's just saying it. And,
For that,
yeah,
you just need to learn patience and, if necessary, meditation, and then you just meditate in class, ignoring the bullshit board that's going on, and there you go.
I finally realized what I was trying to verbalize.
No matter how perfect you are, you're gonna get annoyed sometimes with how slow the clock is going. If you're stuck at work and you've been there for 5 hours and you know you've got another 3 hours, you're gonna get annoyed sometimes. I don't care how perfect you are.
I've been running the standard boring slow trains through the country from one end to the other when I was a kid. Because we had this weekend ticket that you could just use them all from Friday to Sunday, and oftentimes to get the next train, you would have to wait an hour or two at this intermediary train station. And so I just sit there and wait, and that's how I learned to just be patient. Because my book ran out, so all I could do was sit and think or meditate.
All right.
And then time becomes a very malleable thing.
Well, I don't think this sentence is very scientific based, let's just say.
It only speeds up and slows down, subject to what you are willing it to do.
Okay, I'm going to just ignore that one.
And I think that's why timers in games will be
Yeah, I wouldn't
around
take it
for
that
a
far.
long time.
Wow, that's a long explanation to say absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah, I think there's going to be this mechanic in games for a long time. It's like, sure, I think there's going to be walking in games and jumping and flying, all kinds of things.
No, lol, it was a big long explanation, basically say
Pressing
bye
buttons.
outsetters.
Oh, yeah. The thing I was trying to verbalize earlier when I was having a stroke was that I think Whisp coined this was like the Mad 5 citation, or the Mad 5 essay minutes, like the last 5 minutes of a video essay. They always say ridiculous shit near the end,
Yeah.
but it's like the 2 minutes of saying absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's 2 to 3 minutes of absolute insanity.
They don't really add any real difficulty, but by simply being there and making you fiercely aware of the hands of the clock turning, it changes things. For many of us, it clouds our judgment. For others, it may spice things up, and sometimes it can be used to make something pretty damn remarkable. Time waits for no one.
Unless you learn to understand that in most
Yeah.
of these games that utilize it, it is completely inconsequential because the limit is set so high that it is absolutely irrelevant, and then you're just not affected by it.
Yeah, there's a phenomenon called the observer changes the observed, which can be about anything. If you're perceiving something, realizing that you're watching the thing being perceived, or someone is watching you as you perceive something, you're changing the scenario itself because you're now aware of something else. There's another variable in the back of your mind or the back of your vision that is occurring. It's called the observation effect or the observer effect. It's hopefully something he should have talked about, maybe in a later video, if he knows his psych. This is a very basic concept in psych. So, but yeah, no. You perceive time. It changes your perception of time. Okay.
Gorgeous Rex makes a great point. Conclusion does not follow. The perception of time is variable. Therefore, timers will remain in games. What?
I hope he studied at least first year psych and then just stopped, because that would make a lot more sense. If he got a degree, I'm like, oh no.
Oh, I would totally buy him taking a degree. That's why he cites these word for word. He doesn't write his own words, though. He just shows the articles.
Yeah, I referenced an article. There it is. Look, see? Copy pasted on my screen. Like, okay, thanks. I learned so much from looking at that title of an article. Yeah.
And Inquisitor says, good premise, but 21 minutes didn't help the essay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a sleep ad for Outset.
Yeah, and he likes Wario, not WarioWare. He likes, what is it called?
Wario Land 4.
Wario Land, thank you.
You know what would have helped for this whole video? Because it's just one big Outset ad. I believe the words "hurry up" fits for this whole video. Just get to the point.
Yeah, well.
He has an actual time. He should have.
I didn't think the video was bad.
He should have an actual timer.
I would say
exactly
the only
when the video was gonna end.
Like, yeah, he made a couple trippy statements near the end, but I actually thought the video was pretty good. Like, my only recommendation would be that I think that, like, my recommendation for him would be to, instead of just covering all timers in games in, like, one video, or even if it is in one video, make it a little longer and then, like, section it off. Like, this is going to be the stopwatch timer section. This is going to be the scripted event section. This is going to be like the section for games where if you turn them off, the time is still going, like in Pokemon Emerald or like in Animal Crossing. Like, because I almost feel like those are separate subject matters.
They are, and that's why I can't.
Like, there's different types of timers. I think that throwing all timed events into the same loop, it opens up a bit of a can of worms.
Yeah, to the point where he went into.
Aside from that, I actually think this video was pretty good.
Well,
anything that gives the perception of time moving is now a timer, and then you just add every counter that exists.
All right, let's see how he wraps it up.
All right.
But if you can focus on what you can control, embrace the panic, and move with purpose,
oh God, the
you just might find yourself.
No, what? No, that's no.
Embrace the panic.
What the fuck are you talking about? You're just rambling nonsense now. You didn't think about what you're just saying.
5 minutes of madness.
Move with purpose.
Oh,
okay.
The panic does not shake you.
Go towards the light.
Different. No, it's a concept in martial arts as well, where you have your mind empty and clear, because then you're not filled with stupid thoughts and actions of what you want to do, how you want to react or something, or what cool move you want to pull off, but instead you will just react perfectly to the thing the enemy is doing. And there's just
instinct.
That. Not entirely, but closer, yes.
Anyway, we got a minute left.
Yeah.
Let's get on with it.
But it's like it is the opposite of panic.
For it.
That's it. That was it.
Hey there, gang! Thanks so much for tuning.
All right, you're great. That's fantastic.
If you wanna learn how to not panic, first you will have fun panicking. But if you want to learn how to not have panic, somehow manage to get 2-2 Rocket and play it with 3 friends.
Oh my God, this is all this guy does. He references a few links to psych articles and thinks he's teaching us about psychology and video gaming.
Yes, this is what I said in the beginning.
Oh, paratext.
What
Wonderful.
a hack.
He learned a word.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, I don't know why you guys are giving him so much. I don't know what's the right word.
Credibility.
Not credibility.
Attention,
You're giving
money.
him too much of a. You're giving him way too much of a pass. That was the word I was looking for. A pass.
Oh my
I
god.
didn't. Did I?
Anyway, let's get to stream memes. This is gonna be fun. Bumps into you directly, injecting ricin with an umbrella into your subcutaneous belly fat. Sorry, I am a KGB agent. Blushes.
Oh, lordy.
What is going on in this meme, guys? Oh boy. Everything is chrome in the future. Oh my, impossible. He's lying. 3,700 years later.
Okay, at least I'm not the only one. Kyogre's Hideout seems to agree with me. It was a pretty good video.
Yes, and Kyogo's hideout is also wrong.
Due to a
They're both
copyright
wrong.
claim, this content had... Yeah, he used a lot of copyright music there. I was like, oh shit, this is not good.
Yes, Kyogo, most people
What,
are
the
not
stream got
martial
taken down?
artists. Most people are not
Stream-
martial
the
artists,
stream
but
is
it
still
is
up
where you
for
can
me.
learn that.
Well, it's one thing to have it cut from ID. It's another thing to have it baked, and then they'll flag me like an hour later. So it happens a lot. Do you guys?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like you guys were a little too hard on this guy.
Well,
I think this guy
when
did
you
a good
study
job.
even a little bit of psych and you hear what he's saying, it's like, okay, he gets the gist of it, but as he continues to talk, he's lost it. He doesn't know what he's talking. He read the Cole's notes, he read the wiki article, he did not read the actual study and play that into. It's really hard to connect the dots between this and game design. It really is. There is obvious connection with why we design games certain ways and why they work, but that takes a lot of research to figure out why Mario works so well and Crash Bandicoot doesn't work as well or as much.
And it takes even more time to explain it.
It's tough. It's really tough. I'm not saying it's not there. It's just there's no consensus on how these things work psychologically. So it's always a facet of human condition in the practical world, not here's a test where you played a platformer for 10 hours. Here's our control group who played a horror sim or something.
Yeah, you know what I was missing?
I would like to see more of that.
Sure, yeah.
What I was missing was going more into things like usually in platformers the level is being flooded with lava, so you have to jump up everywhere. That's a physical timer.
I like Mike Bob's comment. Come collect your pizza in 20 minutes. Screw your timer. I'll come when I'm good and ready. Stop confusing me.
You're giving me anxiety.
Some people, the time cycle is stressful. I just want to relax and explore me. Haha. Sprinkler goes bloop.
Automation bonus.
I don't have a lol's head PNG, so I just use the flag of Hungary.
Oh, they used boba for me?
Metro, you could have just asked. I have it on my computer. I could have just sent it to you. But yeah, I appreciate the Hungary flag.
So you got 2 objections in Bury? What does that mean?
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's burp.
B-U-R-E.
Oh no, it's a Y.
Yeah, Bury.
This is the wrong letter.
I don't know.
You fail.
I know what Bury means.
Fail.
Bury.
Looking to its own screen. Looking to first player screen. Wisp screen. Mateus screen. Not fair. Ha ha. Player 2 win. Okay.
I don't think so. Matthews, we will have to try this out.
All right. It's all about the greater good.
The greater good.
Dude, Matthews, I don't care where you look. I have no need to look at your screen. I'm gonna win anyway.
Unsighted. Discover the soul of the Brazilian indie. Oh, cool. I didn't know it was Brazil.
Oh no, we're going to Brazil.
Oh no, is that why the characters are animated so weirdly?
Well, it's
No, it's
pixel art.
You can't talk about black people like that.
This is
Look,
great.
This guy looked really weird with his girly eyes.
This is great. You have to watch porn of the last game you've played. How effed up are you? Me after playing Microsoft Solitaire.
It has queens.
Let's not Google that, okay? We'll be good without Googling that. Okay, Brazil. Brazil has the 7th highest crime rate in the world. This happy girl pulling out a gun. Brazil wants you to come visit. Come to Brazil.
We're being Braziled.
Oh.
You're going to Brazil? No.
She
Give me
has
the
ruddy
car back.
eyes.
Not the greatest sales pitch.
Let me out of the garbage dump.
Oh no.
This is great.
That's not okay.
I like that the entire nature of the meme chat turned from listening to what the essay was saying to Brazil.
That man has an incredibly static spine and head. They just amazing.
There's a hair on the meme.
All right, God, please not fry Sir Brazil. Hello, sir.
How?
Where am I? Massachusetts.
There's a hair on the elephant. It goes over the screen. So that somebody photographed a hair on his. Somebody photographed his screen with
Oh.
another device, and there was a hair on it.
Thank you, Gorgeous Rex, for the one time Troy was funny in a Star Trek scene. Yeah. More. Oh, this is the same one.
And this is my contribution.
Sentenced to 40 minutes of left-leaning white guy video essay commentary video. I don't even know what political spectrum this dude's on. I just think he should have spent a bit more time reading those articles and papers and then formulated an actual cogent connection between that and video games, because he could just talk about video games and we've been totally fine without referencing psych terms that were tangentially related.
I'm honestly mad he didn't tie his conclusion back to the title of his video.
Yeah, that was annoying because I want
Oh yeah, right.
to compare all these really people hate games for lots of reasons. There's all kinds of annoying, frustrating things that make you go, oh, I hate this scene, or I hate doing this because it's such a chore. Pick all those and then say this is bad because we tested it and people broke their controllers, or we have evidence of this. That would have been great. I would have loved that.
That's why I can't say that this is a good video, because he didn't even tie it back to his original point.
You know,
that makes it a bad video.
We tend
by
to
definition.
we tend to harp on the title quite a lot, and I think these guys either change their title or they do it just to get the attention. And we're like, oh, this is going to be interesting, and it is interesting. It does keep our attention, but it's not what we were sold on, and that's where I'm getting very annoyed. Not very annoyed, but just the past year, it's been that way. It's like, oh, another title that's not going to live up to its value, and you're like, oh. So, yeah, that's been happening. But video games are fun. Lots of games recommendations out there. I think he mentioned the Outer Wilds. That is I'm surprised no one put that on the lists that we've been making lately.
I haven't played it yet.
Me either.
No.
We're limiting our number to 25 to rank, but I think we're gonna keep.
My
going.
25 games were perfect.
Oh, I know. Everyone has their own experiences. It's totally cool. But
Yeah.
I'm surprised because this one it got confused with the other Outer game that came out from that, what the hell is that studio? It had a bit of controversy, and the name was very similar. But the Outer Wilds itself is a fantastic experience, and it's one of those games you just have to experience. It's not like oh, great graphics, great sound, blah blah blah. It's not about that. It's a mystery to unravel. Anyway, thank you guys. That was kind of fun. Good production value on the videos, at least. He did a good job using copyrighted music and timing a lot of good cuts. I like that. He's a smart guy. I'd love to talk to him. I just wish he'd be smarter. So.
Oh, smart.
Oh god.
Smart guy, but I just want to be. I wish you could be smarter.
Please
Backhand
rephrase.
compliment.
It's like, I would love to talk to you. I just wish you weren't retarded.
I did not say that. I would never say that about him.
Inquisitor Matthias, Transformers War for Cybertron is great. Yeah, it's the best Transformers game, didn't you know?
You keep talking about it because you're currently playing it.
I'm talking to people directly because I asked for their list and I said you can pick one of the 20 because there's so many and there's no like ranking. It's just if you're in the top 25, it's going to make the list. The rest is with voting because everyone's going to choose Red Dead Redemption 2 and all the big AAA games everyone's played. So with Mateus, he chose Transformers. I was like, really? That's that good?
That's the best Transformers game.
Oh no, it's not. It's not just
easily...
It's not just the best Transformers game. It's the game that everyone should play. That's how good it is.
Mike?
I would agree. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah.
Self-end right now. Go away. Go into the trash where you belong for saying Darkspark is the best game. Fuck you.
I didn't say it's the best. Why the flying fuck would I say that one's the best? That's the worst.
Anyway, guys, this all relates to
Pokemon Black and White.
This all relates to the poll we have going, or the event. Is it the event in the Discord? Where you vote on, or you give your submission for your top 10 or top 10, 20, 25, whatever it is. Games that everyone should play because they're that good, they're that special, they're that amazing. And notable, memorable, whatever the thing that you love about it that you can't stop talking about whenever you talk about games, that is the game or games that I'd like a list of. And we're going to finish that off, I think, this weekend. And round them all up, do a vote, and then start calculating and figuring out why. And hopefully not kill ourselves doing that. It won't take me that long to put them together. But
I'm just.
I was actually just recently
any Brazil movie related memes.
What? What does that have to do with that?
I had kind of a question about the poll.
Sure.
I put down Pokemon Black and White. Everybody vote for that, but I put that down, and I was also thinking about the sequel as well. Is that a separate? Does that count as a separate game?
It's whatever games you think are worthy of the attention that every gamer who likes games, because obviously not everyone plays the same genre of game, but you think that anyone who likes games, who is like, okay, I'm a gamer, I play games for gameplay, I play games for drama, I play games for all kinds of reasons, you pick the one reason why that game, or multiple reasons why that game is so memorable that other people should play it.
Yeah, I just think that's the best Pokemon game.
There you go. Good enough reason.
Which one?
What?
Which
Better
one?
than Platinum?
Black and White.
I've been told I would really like. I've been told I would really like Black and White.
See, this is the point. The point of the poll is to get games that I would not know of, or you would not know of a different genre, or even of the same franchise. There's so many Pokemon games and Mario games, and someone says, "Wait a second! If you haven't played Super Mario Galaxy, I mean, what are you waiting for? It's been out for a while. It's amazing. It's the best Mario game you could think of." Blah blah blah, and we have reasons for that. It's not just I said so. There's a scoring system. We have categories, and not reviews, but we're gonna have little anecdotes to say why. And I think that's gonna help us out because there's lots of times where people are like, you got to watch Breaking Bad because it has these really moments, these really like, oh my god. And some people are like, yeah, but I don't want to watch a bunch of adult stories about people brewing drugs. Kind of boring. But people end up watching the show and they love it. So it really is eye-opening to ask other people for their tastes. I don't know very much about Pokemon. I'll probably check out a Pokemon game as a result of us talking about it and getting all this information together because it's so interesting to hear from other people who know better than I do. Because I have certain tastes and preferences. We all do, but that doesn't stop us from trying other things. Why not? So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for the recommendation. I enjoyed it. We will talk to you guys soon, hopefully, and keep the suggestions coming, not only for the videos, but also for games that you want us to check out. Alrighty. Thank you guys. Have a great evening, and that's about it. See you.
See you guys later.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good evening.